Welcome to Sunny Day Stamping. I'm Julie Baca. Sign up for my weekly email to receive free project sheets and updates on sales. This is the project we're going to make today. It's just gorgeous, but I have to say I'm a little reluctant because most of my projects are quick and easy, and this is not. This is easy. I've definitely broke it down to make it simple, but this is definitely something you're not going to mass produce. It's going to be a special card for Mother's Day or birthday, and but I did want to do it because the reason I bought this set in the first place is because these flowers just grabbed me. I'm like, I need this when I saw it in the catalog. But then I got it and it sat on my shelf for 2 months because I'm like, I don't know how to use this. And so I looked on different videos on the internet and it still was confusing to me. So I'm like, I gotta explain this. So I hope this is helpful to you. Look at all that amazing texture. This is such a special card, and I've got so many tips to make it easy to put this together. And at the end, I have some different color combinations, but I also have a quicker version of this to show you. So to make this card, you're going to need the Flowering Tulips bundled. So that comes with the stamp set and the die set. When you buy them bundled like that, you get 10% off. So that's a great deal. Also, in the month of March, if you're watching this, March 2022, the mini cut and emboss machine, which these dies will fit in, is on sale for $48. So that's a screaming deal. Today's example, we're going to be doing it in Highland Heather. And so let me go through the supplies real quick. You can see you don't need that much, but let me give you the dimensions of these papers. So you're going to need cardstock. This is crumb cake. You're going to need 5 1/8 by 3 7/8 piece of black and berry vanilla, 5 by 3 3/4 piece of vanilla, 2 3/4 square piece of crumb cake, and some scraps. I'm using Pear Pizzazz and Highland Heather to cut out the die cuts, and you can see these are scraps. I've used these in other projects. Now don't worry, all of those measurements are over on my website, sunnydaystamping.com. Now if you'd prefer to have a printed project sheet that has all those dimensions, some written instructions, and links to the video and the supply list, I usually try to keep this all to one page, but I had a lot of instructions for this one. Anyway, if you'd like this, you can sign up for my email, and I've got a link down in the description to do that. Okay, we're going to start by cutting out our die cut pieces. Now, you're going to need 2 sets of everything. So 2 sets of leaves and 2 sets of flowers. So these are the pieces you need for the leaves and the stems. These are the pieces you're going to need for your tulips. What is great that it comes with 3 of these, so you don't have to cut them out multiple times. You get a complete set of flowers in the die set. So cut 2 and meet me back here. So this is 1 set of flowers. I'm going to show you how to assemble these. So each of these larger pieces has a fold line that you fold them in, and then these little pieces go inside. Now the way I got this like double color going on here is that I took a sponge dauber and I colored these pieces. So let me show you how to do that. I just get some ink, and I'm using Highland Heather ink and Highland Heather cardstock. And you just decide how dark you want those highlights to be. And I'm just putting them on the tips that are going to be showing here. Like, I don't want to color the whole thing. Now let's try this piece. So this is our little bud. So I want to highlight right here along those top edges. In this piece, I want to highlight along this edge and this edge. And then I'm going to put a little smidge on the bottom. On this piece, all these little pieces will go on the inside. I want to highlight the edges here. Wah! And a little bit on the bottom. And then for this piece, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to put the paper between my finger and the bone folder on this side, and I'm going to kind of just curl it just a little bit. And I'm going to do that on this V piece and these 3 small pieces. Now we're going to glue these together, starting with the bud. Now, the bud has a kind of bulbous end here and it narrows at the top. This is the bottom. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on here, tuck it into this little like envelope thing. And before I really solidify it down, I'm going to close this and see how it looks. I want to make sure, and you're going to have that little, it's not going to be even right there. And that's on purpose. Like if you go online and look up tulips, that is what it's going to look like when they're kind of opening. So then I put a little glue on the inside there and press it in. Now for this piece, we're going to add a little bit of glue here, and I'm going to tuck it in, close the flap, and see what it looks like. And you can move this around to make sure it's where you want it to be. Press. Now on this one, I want to show you something. If you glue it flat, you can see when you turn it over, there's some space there. So what I like to do is actually have that be even. So I'm going to put a little glue here, even that up, and it's going to automatically poke this out so there's dimension. Now for our last flower, it has 3 pieces. So we're going to add this V section first. And I'm going to put it right in the middle. Then add this piece right on top of that V. Again, close it up, see how you like it, move things around before you press it down in place. And now I'm going to put a little glue on the inside to close those flaps. Now when I was watching other demonstrators demonstrate this, some were using dimensionals on the inside or mini glue dots if they really wanted it to pop out. I just knew I was going to have a hard time putting all those things in there, so I found it easier to just use glue. So now you're going to do that with a whole nother set of flowers, so you have 2 sets of flowers. Now look, you can see this one of mine unpopped open, so that's the first time that's happened, so I must not have put enough glue. So you just glue it back together. Oh, now you can see I made a mistake there. I put glue in that crevice, so just wipe it out. So slide all these flowers out of the way, and we're going to work on the leaves. Now you could use the leaves just like this, but I am actually going to stamp on mine to give them extra dimension, and I love that Stampin' Up! Has that available, that these cut out perfectly. Now you can stamp first and then cut them out, but for me it just seemed easier just to cut them out first and then stamp on top of them. I don't know, I go back and forth with that. And now this one of these stems has a stamp that goes on them, and you know, if it doesn't, like if you don't stamp it like perfectly right, like this one I stamped off to the side, it just really doesn't matter, but it just adds enough dimension to make it cool. Do a whole nother set of those. Now go ahead and set these off to the side. Now you're going to grab your square of crumb cake, and I'm going to show you how to make that newspaper wrap for the tulips. I just think this is such a fun idea. Now you could fold it on your own, but I decided it was easier for me to use my paper trimmer. So what you're going to do is take a corner and kind of put it in the trough of your paper trimmer, and then have this point at the 1-inch mark. Now, this does not need to be exact. Have your cutter up at the top. Don't cut this piece. We're just going to score it. Now, hold it in place at the tip again, and we're going to rotate it so it's pointing at the 1-inch mark on the other side. Close it down and score it again. Now you've got this nice V-shaped, and hopefully when we fold it in, it will wrap up. Now you can see that this is bulging a little bit. To me, that is totally fine, because I don't mind my newspaper being crinkled. But when you do this, if this is overlapping too much, you can just trim off a little bit. Again, this doesn't have to be exact. This is a crinkled piece of newspaper holding these tulips together. All right, now we want to make this look like newspaper. I am going to use a stamp out of this same stamp set to just create some newspaper looking print. Now, oh, I know what I wanted to tell you. When you fold this up, one of these flaps you're going to actually see. So I want to make sure that this love is right there where we're going to be able to see it. And now the rest of it, I am just going to stamp around, making sure I stamp off. I just want like dimensions. So I want this to be in different shades of this black and gray. Now, if you want this to look like more like newspaper, you could use something out of a different stamp set. But I just wanted to make this kind of more economical. Like if you buy this bundle, you can make this entire card. There we go. So now when you fold this in, look at that. Now cut yourself a 12-inch piece of linen thread or whatever else you want to use. And I'm going to just find the halfway point. Again, this doesn't need to be exact, but that's about halfway right there. And I'm going to tape it to the back of my newspaper, kind of below the center, so that when I put my flowers in, I'll be able to tie this there. Now grab your 5 by 3 3/4 piece of Very Vanilla, put some glue on the back of your newspaper, and you're going to hold the thread and the flaps, just so you don't glue your flaps. And you're going to put this on your paper kind of at an angle. And I loved the tip coming off of my paper down here. So that's how I oriented mine. And then just press it real good without wiggling it everywhere. Jeez. Now grab all your pieces and we're going to put this in fast motion. So you're going to start by taking your stems and taping them to the back of your flowers. Now I only did 2 sets of stems, so I actually cut those in half so I didn't have to cut any more off. So that was a kind of time-saving tip. Now you're going to take 3 flowers, one of each kind, and anchor those down on your paper. Add a leaf and then add another flower on top. And then you're just layering it, closing that flap to make sure everything is going to fit in there, and trimming stems when you need to. Add Stampin' Dimensionals to kind of lift them up, because when you layer flowers on top of each other, they're going to be thicker. So you want to layer them with the Stampin' Dimensionals. Now, any leaves that are cut that you can't see, that you can see, you know, you want to just cover them up with another leaf. I even cut my leaves in half so I didn't have to cut any more leaves. Now you're going to stamp your sentiment on a scrap piece of vanilla towards the bottom edge and then just trim it off. So you don't even have to measure that. Now you're going to glue your card base, glue that onto your card base and pop up your sentiment with dimensionals. Now you're going to stamp using those same colors, Highland Heather, to decorate that inside. Those are all from that same stamp set. All the sentiments, all the flowers. I mean, fantastic. So here's our gorgeous card inside and out. Don't forget to do your envelope. This is what it looks like. I used Calypso Coral and Crushed Curry, kind of different multicolor tulip bouquet. This is what it looks like just on crumb cake, and I popped this level up with some Stampin' Dimensionals. This Happy Mother's Day is actually in that same tulip stamp set. This is what it looks like in white instead of Very Vanilla. Ooh, and this is also in that die set. Okay, and here is the quicker version, and I think this is absolutely gorgeous too. You stamp the flowers instead of taking the time to fold them and glue them. I mean, it really saves a lot of time, and that die set comes with these that you can cut those out. And here it is. This is with the crumb cake base, and this is in Calypso Coral with a vanilla base. Let me show you the inside. Let me know if you liked that kind of new style of doing mostly in fast motion. I gotta admit, I watch most of my YouTube videos in double speed. I learned that trick from my boys because I'm like, oh, I can take a 10-minute video and watch it in 5. So anyway, I sped that up. Let me know if that was confusing or if you liked that. Thank you so much for watching.